I've waited my whole life, damn near, well, adulthood, let me put it like that, to have an effective means of relaying to you um, me in a way like this. And it's very interesting how I am here at this moment and I am so speechless. We should never take for granted where each of us come from, and thus that we start in different places. And that we have been able to see that there are perhaps wrong places to start or bad places to start, whatever bad is. But I think wrong is more effective than bad. There is more objectivity in wrong. Uh, but that you could mistake so 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 flagrantly uh one's capacity for love and humanity, and I mean simply the moment uh to even inquire, to be sure that you know um the person feels what they feel or thinks what you think they think, is what I'm saying. uh and they is obviously me in this context. uh Look, I mean, I have a lot to learn in the realm of tolerance, maybe, even though it's really not tolerance. Like, it's tolerance, but so where I wanted to really start this conversation was on what it means to be black. Now, this requires us to go on this journey about what is it called? This journey. Um, oh, representation. And I mean, on one hand, let me say that for all of the things that uh, Black people have pioneered in American history, in particular, and what has contributed to American culture, uh, Black people have made great strides, and it is very, very well documented that they are inspired and find inspiration in the cause of Black people in the United States of America. The ways that we have fought, the ways that we have tried, the directions that our forefathers have gone to disprove the prevailing arguments on autonomy, on humanity, I guess, on morals, ethics, ontology, all of it. Epistemology, even though I don't know, I mean, the epistemology is pretty easy, I think. Epistemology tends to be, I would say, the easiest to first of all, it's the easiest to define out of all of them. That just being the knowledge itself. That's all any of this is, right? But the epistemology, I think, or it easily is like, yeah, I mean, it's like base level, but the point that I'm making is that the information is usable. The information in the epistemology is way more useful, because I mean, like, this is part of the reason why, and I'm going to be coming back to this argument again about how I don't disagree with the idea that, we can have different spaces for different kinds of things, or that there are going to be spaces for different kinds of things and conversations. People do shit. Like, people live their fucking lives, bro. And they have their circumstances and experiences and desires and inclinations and exposures and traumas. And, bro, it's just the world we live in. And welcome to the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the United States. Anyway, the epistemology is, there's not really much that we need to touch on that. There's tweaking we can do to improve, what we're focusing on in the epistemological trajectory. But, at the end of the day, it'll make sense to some, and for others, other things will make sense. You feel me? But in these other realms, of where Black people, the projection of Blackness, the lengths it has had to go, not even just in terms of just, I guess, like I said, expressing themselves, I guess, but the just the fact that they tried so many ways, and some ways even more humiliating than others, and even counterintuitive. You feel me? We have inspired so many different kinds of things and people to come out here and borrow from our writers, our scholars, our thinkers, our fighters, our leaders, our widows, all of these different people, to give their own causes and calls for a feeling of discrimination or whatever. And like I said, at the expense, really, it's not an homage. It's not an homage. Let's just get that clear right off the gate. There's no tribute, there's no respect in that. It's a mockery at this point. It is a mockery at this point. I cannot stress this enough. It needs to end. The civil rights movement was one thing. They assassinated Martin Luther King and all of these people, and JFK, and then everybody, all of these other people branch out, and the civil rights movement is dissolved. But the civil rights movement, clearly, again, right, showing with all the inspiration and everything that was garnered, right, represented anybody and everybody's ability to just live their lives, be who they are, and just have a baseline, establish a baseline level of moral and cognitive precedence. Okay, these things, whatever, acknowledging that there's a natural order, you know what I'm saying, for each individual person who may or may not, who may present themselves to make decisions in your presence, and affect you, and things of this nature. And and it's always been important. It's always been important to recognize that we are all people who have been making decisions, who have been interpreting things that they were exposed to, and that traumatized them to different levels. You feel me? And in some places we meet where we meet, in other places we will never, we would never even know it even existed to be. And others we will even want to be and may never be, or do get to be. But at the end of the day, there is no way that you can tell me that Black people have been apparently so inspirational for all of these people who understand what it means to be oppressed, who understand what it means to be subjugated, what it means to be targeted, what it means to be attacked, what it means to be ostracized, what it means to be, outcast, neglected, all of these things. And yet, Black people are, to this day, baseline level of interpretation just for being Black is a measure of how much you're a threat. At least as a man, or especially as a man, but I don't doubt my sisters have also, gone through this. And I do have sisters. Now, look, right? I'm not saying we can't joke, you know what I'm saying? Have our fun and everything, you see, because, like, it's obvious, right? Like, it's obvious that, like, words, words have effects, right? It's not necessarily and these effects are more or less claimed, or we decide how much to make those words, relevant. Like I said, there's somebody out there who don't give a shit about what I'm saying. They think I'm wrong. They think I'm fucking stupid. They think I don't know anything. That everything I'm saying is the opposite of that I'm not saying what I'm saying, that I'm not saying anything at all, whatever. I mean, there's so trust me, there's a baseline. Martin Luther King, all he was doing was establishing that, there's a baseline level of, morals and cognitions that we could that we could, I mean, really should establish, for our society. And understandably, you're talking 1960s, which is when all of this shit popped off. Ironically enough, everybody acknowledges it. Everybody acknowledges, oh yeah, it's the 1960s, 1950s, look at that, like really this past century, the 20th century especially, all and up to like it's but the 1960s though, they acknowledge 1960s. And again, that's civil rights movement. That's assassination 63 of Martin Luther King, assassination of JFK 68. So Lyndon B. Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. This is when it all started. Meaning, shit. I mean, a lot of things started, but what I'm saying is that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1963. He was a prominent leader, if not the most prominent leader of the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, if you read the works of or listen to speeches of Martin Luther King, or other people who were involved with the civil rights movement, which included women, which included homosexuals, which included Hispanics, Spanish people, Chicanos, whatever you want to call it, white people, Jews, people all around, Asians, everybody. The civil rights movement included everybody. But after Martin Luther King was gotten rid of, those things, the civil rights movement more or less ultimately dissolved, and all of these other smaller offshoots of representations of what the civil rights, because I'd be damned if I say that those things, if you really believed in the civil rights movement, if you really fought for what it was and believed in what it was, you would have known that not only does it acknowledge everybody, but you would have fought for it way stronger. And remember my question, or it's not even a question, it's an axiom. I said, if you truly understood and stood for what the civil rights movement represented, and understood that it acknowledged the humanity and the autonomy of all of us, then it wouldn't have branched off, and it wouldn't have been all of this other shit which just borrows and uses the black experience and all of these different, you know what I'm saying, to form your argument to say that you deserve X, Y, or Z privilege or accommodation or pity, sympathy, whatever the fuck, just because you come up with some fucking name, you know what I'm saying, and an archetype or something, and start encapsulating people and saying this. Because there are articles that are out there that talk about sex workers. And what is the article? It's an advertisement for sex work. That's the only way to interpret it, and we can go through it. I'll gladly go through. I have, this is what I live for. This is what I do, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, it's really a wealth. It's really a wealth. I don't have to have. And I'm gonna say it so many times, but I don't have opinions. I just make observations, baby. And what I see is they not like us. Bro, they are not like us. And there are even many within us because they have accepted their presentation of what we are or who we are and how we are and all this type of shit and why we are and all of this shit all the way. They feel like they know what it means to be black, to be oppressed, to be subject all of these negative fucking things. Not black, not being black, right? But you're putting black in the middle of it. You're taking black and you're using it as the symbol of all of this shit. And you're like, and you're even calling them out. You're naming them. And here's the thing, right? Because the question again from the beginning, and again, it's not a question. It's not a question. What it means to be black. What it means to be black. And so, you go through, everybody perceives you as a threat or like, they want to fuck with you and, play games and like do little shit because they feel like they know you and shit. And like, it's like the shit that you see, right? Like the shit that you're dealing with is like it's mistaken, right? It's like it's mistaken as like a competition, or it's like mistaken as like I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know. I can't really speak in the way of cowards and assholes and retards and degenerates and homosexuals but anyway, I can't really speak in slaves. I cannot speak in this way to make some way to justify the things that they do, you feel me, to be what they are. And I think it's, by the way, I think it is perfectly fine for people to be educated enough to articulate their condition and share stories with the world, the things that they have learned, the things that they feel, the things that they have experienced, you know what I'm saying, and things of this nature, to help us with our knowledge. Because there's a reason why there's been this information that's been passed on, that's even in like the Bible and all of this type of stuff, you know what I'm saying, like, which is like, some of it is about like our health, how to prolong life, or how to how to eat well, or or generally like morals, or just like carrying oneself, what is virtuous, and even what is wickedness, and things of this nature. So we've had these different certain things for a while, like these projections of what these different things are. And I mean, shit, I mean, just enough just to know even that information, is there, and is important. Meaning to say that we know that works like the Bible are important, or other, classic works, Plato, that like Plato's works are important or whatever, right? That we would have already solved certain types of things about the ontologies and even the etiologies and the ease, you feel me, all the things, and it's just It's just, look, man, you know, it's okay that we all share our wealth of information on what it is like to be a human, because we have seen and do see that we can very easily learn from each other, and the only way that we can learn from each other is by us sharing. Great. That's perfectly fine. But what you are not going to do, and what we are not going to do, is try to label an entire skin color of people or whatever, a physical appearance, unless it's like Down syndrome, maybe, and you can say, well, why do all these people look like that? Because there's a distinct look to Down syndrome, or like, other, just like certain things. I mean, whatever, but like, just, you know what I mean, like when I say what I say, because I'm not the one who's saying it. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about the color of your skin. I don't give a fuck about who you are, where you come from, where you've been. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit until I meet you and we say hello and we ask each other questions and get to know each other and stuff. But beyond that, I really don't give much of a fuck about anything that is not in my lines of sight, that is not on my table, that I'm not preparing for my kingdom. I have enough that I'm looking at. And there are still these people who are trying to propagate this idea that we can be all knowers of all of everything. We're still naming things, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. But we're still naming things. So trust me, the names aren't that important, you guys. But anyway, in this black thing, if I, as a black person, speak up and I say, this doesn't represent me, this doesn't represent what I know it means to be black, or to be, this doesn't represent what I see from black people around me. This isn't my experience. And you're trying to tell me, and in many aspects, because of course, I think I'm old enough to be able to say with confidence that, like, it really shouldn't be a surprise. It really shouldn't be a surprise for any of us to say that we've seen homosexual, or like we are aware that men can be attracted to each other, that women can be attracted to each other. Yeah. Like we know that this, and that men and women can be attracted to each other. Like we know, like like you're going to see it, or you're going to be exposed to it. And it's never a big deal. It not only is it never a big deal, but that is the baseline by which people are working upon to form their projections on the things that they are naming. So when this so it's like because I have seen plenty of examples where gay people, or like gay activists or whatever, would take their words and say, they would say, oh yeah, I'll tell you what a faggot is. Or they'll say, or they'll own the word for themselves and say that they are a faggot or whatever, right? And they use the word among each other. like as like a term of endearment, like we use nigga and everything. And it's not a hard T, it's just T. That's just the, it's T. I think the T is that, I mean, it's kind of sharp, but it's also hard. It's like T, it's like faggot. It's like it is determinate, like as that transient right there. But it's like the names, and like I said, these things that we attribute values to. And my thing is here's my thing, and like I said, the baseline is that none of this is really that big of a deal in terms of like again, like the color of people's skin, you know like that's not even a big deal, you know what I mean? But that is the baseline that people are working on. And so like in my acknowledgement of that like everything ultimately is like neutral, and that I mean, not even that everything is like neutral, whatever is the resting energy is the energy that something was at, but that we can see certain actions, certain real actions, real events, with real outcomes and real settings, you know what I'm saying, like meaning like they actually unfold or whatever. They can cause you can manipulate the environment. It's a, like I said, it's a manipulation of the environment. And again, these things are all talked about, like, again, even from antiquity, again, from with the Bible and everything, like calling the names, like making these names and making them represent these different things, because at a baseline, right, you have to set a definition. At the baseline, you have to say, okay, wait, well, what are we talking about? This thing. So in this thing, you're saying, okay, what are we talking about? Skin color. We're talking about skin color, right? So you're already trying to come at me with a perception on skin color. And I mean like legitimately, and also to such a point of shit, destruction, it's really unfortunate. It's terrible. Like it's terrible, what has been done. And anyway, like I said, you try to silence me. You try to silence me and tell me that I'm wrong for you using the thing that you are trying to represent and say that it is inspired by people who look like me, or people who look like me because of the color of my fucking skin. Bro. And like I said, I look at my brothers and my sisters and I say, man, how do you do it? Like, that, again, on this topic of representation, this is where it goes. This is why people feel like they need representation, because they go through things, and sometimes, and when you go through things, you have to acknowledge, okay, well, what happened? What are the pieces that were involved? Giving them values and definitions. Okay, and they had this effect to this capacity, and yada yada yada, and this and that. Okay, and you'll look for like information that whether it confirms or denies, and for some people only to confirm, or some people only to deny, or it's contextual. The perception, you know what I'm saying? And then like, through these confirmations and denials, it's like, okay, well, if this is a pattern, because it's like, we'll say it's the same thing, because if we can name it, we've seen it more than once, you know what I'm saying? So let's put that there. So anyway, um you put the uh well, look, like I said, the thing that you are trying to represent, be it human trafficking, be it sex working, be it pedophilia, be it homosexuality, be it a fucking illegal immigrant, for you to try to attach that to the plight and works of my people and call yourself intelligent or a scholar or relatable is gross. It's vile. It's foul. It's disingenuous. And in no time than now has that been shown. Is that being projected? You know, I really have to, put this, conversation to the side, because, you know, like I said, when it comes down to being black, seeing all of the different ways that my brothers and sisters have dealt with this issue of being told to shut up about people trying to tell you who you are when you didn't even speak. Yeah. Yeah, it's a way to deal with that. And for some of us, um yeah, um we got to love each other, y'all. We got to love each other. And that's really all I'm trying to say. That's what it means to be black.